Hi, everyone, and welcome to Reinvented Delaware, the podcast. Today, we have a guest. This is our very first guest. I'm so excited that my friend Do Dodson has agreed to be my very first guest and my very first interview here on the podcast. You are going to love what she has to share. She is a wealth of information. She's been such an inspiration to me for the last a long time. I don't know how many years. It's been quite a while. I've met her in person. Anyway, let's just get to it. Let's just tell everybody who you are, what you do. Just give us a little rundown.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. I mean, I feel so honored for you to ask me to come on to be the very first guest. Cindy is amazing, and I don't have to tell you guys that already. You already know that. But my name is Do Dodson. I'm the owner and creator of Do Dodson Designs. I'm a blogger, an influencer. I like to do a lot of things, but one of the things that I love to do the most, like Cindy, is repurposing old things and making them new, or taking some trash and making something new out of it. But I'm excited to be here.
Well, that is awesome. Before we get into the meat of what we're going to talk about today, go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you. And I'm going to include all this information down in the description. And if you're listening on the audio version of this on the podcast players, I'll include it in the show notes. And I even have hopes of having a blog post about this. But do go ahead and tell us, where can we find you? Give us all that good stuff.
Okay, so first and foremost, you can find me over on my website, and that's dododsondesigns.com. Also, all social medias, but my number one place I would love for you to follow me would be Pinterest. And Cindy's going to grin when I say that, because she knows that's my love. Pinterest is the driving factor of and that's one of the biggest reasons I'm in business right now, is for Pinterest. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and oh my gosh, Facebook. Facebook is another one that I love my followers over there. So just in a lot of different places, but those are the main ones.
Awesome. I know you and I need to chat about Pinterest sometime, because you are the queen of Pinterest. And if you're not familiar with what Pinterest is, it is a wealth of inspiration, that ideas and photos that you can save and pin, kind of like to an old-fashioned bulletin board, only it's all digital. You can find it on your phone. You can find it online on your computer. So be sure to follow Do there. I'm going to include all of her social links, including Pinterest and her blog, down in the description. So make sure that you head over there and give her a follow. And if you follow her on Facebook or Instagram or on her blog, make sure you say that Cindy sent you, and drop my name there. I'd appreciate it, because she'd be like, hey, I know her.
No, absolutely.
So let's talk about your business. When did you start repurposing and upcycling, and how long ago? Tell me your beginnings.
Oh my gosh. When you say, when did you start repurposing? When did you not repurpose? I mean, if you come from a family like I do, and I'm pretty sure Cindy does too, we repurposed everything. And the story that I always tell is, when I say a little girl, I was probably 10, 11, somewhere in there. My grandmother handed me my very first paintbrush, and she taught me how to paint on her kitchen door, which was actually an exterior door at the time. She lived in an old cinder block house. It was just kind of man-made. And everybody in our family built their own homes too. That's just kind of where we come from. So she taught me how to paint that door. And from there, it just kind of evolved into repurposing things. I would help her decorate. And I love that she quilted, putting the little tiny pieces of fabric together, making quilts. Oh my gosh. And she taught me how to do that. She taught me everything I know, including cooking and cleaning, all of that. And I would go and stay with her, during the summers for probably about 6 weeks out of the year. I would go and just stay with her, and we would learn to cook, and we canned, and we gardened, and we did all the things. So it has just kind of evolved from there. And as I grew up and, married, I learned that, it took money to live. I didn't have a whole lot of it. I'm actually a nurse. That was my career. And I retired 33 years in nursing, and decided to do this because, I learned through the years how I could repurpose things. And then by accident, I started playing and painting just for stress relief from being a nurse. And then I had to get rid of it. So I sold it on Marketplace. And before I knew it, I had a business, a side hustle that just kind of took off.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. And maybe I'm going to have you back on to talk about how you sold your items. I'm getting a lot of questions about that. We no longer sell our items. We had a vendor booth for a long time, and we're not doing that. But people just want to know how to sell their items. So maybe you and I need to revisit that conversation for
Love
sure.
it. I would love
And
that.
the thing about the quilt, oh my goodness, I remember a blog post. Isn't there a blog post about an amazing quilt that you have from your grandmom?
Oh, I've got all of them.
All of them.
I've got all of them, including my mother's. And I go over, like every time I go over, I put my name on another one. I'm like, you're not giving those to anybody but me, because I'm the one that loves them the most. So no, I've got a bunch, a lot. And I have old pieces of my grandmother's furniture. And that's probably the blog post that you've seen it on, with my mother sitting there holding the quilt, you know.
Yes,
So,
that's
yeah.
it. That's the one I remember. Well, that really speaks to my heart. My grandmother was a quilter. I did not know her, but she was a quilter, and it must have been in the bloodline, because I have quilted for 40 years. Like
Love
since
it.
I was a little girl, I started sewing and had an interest in that. And I have stacks of quilts that one day my kids will actually, we're starting to give away the quilts now. I'm already shipping them out. As grandkids come, we're giving quilts away.
Don't wait.
Yeah.
Let them use them, let them lay on them, let them cover up in them. Don't hoard them like my grandmother did.
Well, they're treasures. They're such a wonderful thing. And I love the history behind older quilts, because often they took clothing apart and
Yes.
cut it up and then reused it. And that is just the beginning of upcycling and repurposing. And, you know, I don't know about you, but I'm so excited to see this younger group having like this resurgence to reuse so many things. I just love that I'm seeing that. Are you seeing that in your area? Where are you anyway? Tell us where you are.
Family, because all of my grandkids, they get a big dose of Grandma Ghana, and that's another story of her repurposing and painting. So I get multiple calls a day from, especially in the summer, with my granddaughters FaceTiming me, telling me what they're painting, what they're making, you know. And one of my youngest granddaughters is coming this week, actually. And I take her to the quilting club where my mother still quilts. She's 85 years old. She still goes once a week and quilts with all these women, and they're teaching her how to quilt. And she is excited. She's 8 years old and learning how to quilt.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, that's really encouraging. I was 9 when I learned how to use my first sewing tools, and that was a lot of fun. I always like to joke that one of my older sisters let me rip out the seams of the mistakes that she made while she was sewing. And she made me feel like it was an honor. And to this day, I don't mind ripping out a seam. So kudos to your little.
Smart. That was
Yes. Yes. Well, kudos to her for learning and carrying on that tradition. That is just so awesome.
Right.
Let's talk about some of the materials and supplies and how you source. Let's go with that first. How do you source the supplies that you need to make over some of your projects? And we're going to talk about some of your favorite projects. So everyone hang on, and I'm going to be sharing a blog post of one or two of Do's favorite projects down in the description. So you're going to want to see that. But for now, where do you source, and what are some of your favorite supplies?
Okay, so depending on what I'm going to be doing, because, you know, as a creative, and I know you feel the same way, I have all this stuff in my head, and it's everywhere. It's not just furniture. It's not just, you know, sewing. It's not just crafting. It's all of it. So it really depends. Now for furniture, I have no shame. I will go and pull something off the side of the road. I have been to the dump. I have been everywhere. I have people that actually bring me stuff and drop it off. So, you know, that's, you know, I don't buy a whole lot of furniture because there's just so many things out there that you can fix and paint. Now, as far as the other projects, one of the things I love right now, and it probably will be till the day I die, is crafting with wood and making and repurposing things out of old wood. And I know Cindy likes to do that too. Just, you know, any kind of wood that I can find, I typically save. I get some leftovers from people building houses. You know how they have those big containers sometimes, and they have wood and all this other stuff. A lot of times you can go up on the job site and say, hey, you know, do you need that too before? I was like,
love that idea.
Because who doesn't need a tube before? You never know where you're going to build a spare bedroom or something. You don't know. So just and on the side of the road, things drop out of trucks. I mean, it sounds so strange, but I'm a country girl, and that's how we repurpose, is we find things that other people discard or just don't want, and we save them and repurpose that.
Yeah, I love that. So I imagine you have an amazing storehouse of stuff to use.
I have a barn full of scrap wood that my husband wants to burn down.
You recently moved. So did you move all that stuff from, did you?
Scrap pile at the other house, and that was one of the sore subjects, is like, are we moving that or are we throwing it away? I said, oh no, we got to move all those scraps. So we took all those wood pieces and brought them over here. But you know, it's funny that you asked that. In the beginning, my husband thought I was a nutcase. He really thought I was a nut when I quit my nursing career to play with paint and furniture and build little wooden things, you know. But now that he sees that it's a business, he is all on board. So he was more than happy after I reminded him what this blog post, my favorite blog post, which you're going to be sharing down in the links, actually has made me so much money. And it was just free wood that I found, just scraps.
Oh, that is so awesome. I can't wait to hear about it. We're going to talk about that. And if Do sends me a picture of that blog post and the project, I'm also going to pop in a picture, but you're going to have to watch to the end to see that. So Do help me to remember at the end that I'm going to add that picture, because I want everybody to see it, but I also want them to head over to your blog post. That will be linked down in the description and down in the show notes. So you're going to have to go see that. I don't want you to miss it. So that kind of leads me, like, what kind of challenges have you faced with repurposing in any way, whether it's sourcing, whether it's a project that just didn't turn out, like whatever? What are some of your challenges?
Well, first off, there's not very many projects that don't turn out, because I won't quit. Now, it may fail the first time, but the second time I'm going to get it. But I would say probably the biggest challenge in my business, a lot of it has to do with my age. You know, I grew up, I'm almost 60 now, is technology. It wasn't something, the computer wasn't something that I was taught as a child. I learned it about 40 years old when when we went from paper to a computer in the hospital. So that, and I would say time, those are my biggest challenges. And being a wife, a grandmother, you know, a mom, a caregiver to my elderly parents. I have a dad that has Alzheimer's, so there's a whole lot of running back and forth, taking care of him and doctor visits and stuff. This really has freed up my time, but it is a challenge, you know, to get the things that I need done in a timely manner.
Yeah, that sounds like another episode, time management, because it's, as a, you know, I'm a blogger, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a podcaster now, and I'm glad that I'm not selling the items anymore, because there's no time to manage what it takes to, that's another 20 hours just to manage sales and inventory and all of that. So, and we have grandkids too. So I understand that route. They all live away, so it's a big event to go see them. But that's what we do, and it just takes the time, and certainly that's where I want to put my time. But I also enjoy, you know, encouraging others and inspiring others. So it's a little bit of a pull, but I'm not sure that there's a good answer to that. But I appreciate you sharing your challenge, and I think that a lot of people listening and watching would have the same kind of sentiment, because I have a lot of followers in our age group. You and I are in the same age group.
Absolutely.
And they are wanting to do something. They've retired from their jobs and they are wanting to do something with a purpose. And this, you know, repurposing and upcycling for your own home or to sell is a great purpose. You're really providing a wonderful service for your own home, especially in saving money, or inspiring others and selling your pieces. So I know that resonates with a lot of my followers and a lot of my listeners here, because yeah, we're kind of all in the same group there. So what do you think your best tip for recycling and repurposing? What's your best tip, if there is one? I don't know if there is one.
Oh yeah, there is.
Okay.
No one to save it and no one to throw it away.
Let's talk about that, because I have a problem. I love the things that are falling apart and just need a little bit of love. So
Yes.
let's talk about that because it's a problem.
It is, but I mean, it's, you think about it, because you may find a piece of furniture on the side of the road that is not salvageable. You can't fix it. Well, you could, but you would spend way much time and money. It's not worth it. But what about the hardware on it? Is the hardware still good? What about pieces of it that is still good that you can salvage to turn into something else, either to fix another piece of furniture or just to use it for something else? So it's knowing when to save and when to let it go. And I have a problem like you letting those things go. Yesterday, I was making a project and I had a little square piece of wood about this big, and I posted it on Facebook. Should I keep it? And so many people were dying because they're like, I get it. Me too. I don't know when to save and when to throw away. So,
oh, it's hard. It's hard. My husband is cleaning out our garage today, and he has taken a load to the dump and a load to the auction. And I've had pieces in there that I've had for 5 years that I have not gotten to yet, but letting it go is just such a big challenge. So
yes,
I'm trying to let some of those kind of things go, but at the same time, as soon as you do, that's the thing that you need.
exactly.
Like, I just got rid of that thing and now I need it.
And it usually happens a week later. So.
Yeah, exactly. A week later, how in the world does that happen? But that's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm dying to know about your favorite project. So tell me, what is it?
Okay, so when I say favorite, it's a favorite for a lot of reasons. It's sentimental. It was easy to do. It's something that I love. I have a passion for, and I knew it would bring me a lot of eyeballs to my website where I could make money. Because this is a business. This is a business. We love to share, but it's also a business. So it started with the scrap wood, of course, because that's what I love. Other than furniture repurposing, but I took some scrap pieces of wood and I made them into a little country church that reminded me of the church that I went to when I was a little girl with my grandmother. Because all of this repurposing starts with my grandmother. So saving all the boards and the paint and stuff. So I took these 3 little pieces of wood and put them together, slapped some paint on them and called them good. Never even thought that was going to be a big deal. Well, let me tell you, it went viral on Pinterest, and then it went viral on Facebook, and it just was going everywhere. And everybody was making these little churches. And now when you go to search, Do Dodson design churches on Pinterest, you not only get mine, but you get everybody else's that they made. But I'm honored that they were so easy to make that other people could actually make them and enjoy them too. But they brought a lot of joy to my heart, reminding me of my grandmother and the days that we sat in the pews together and she would feed me fruit stripe gum and, all the good stuff. So.
Oh, that is so good. I know those churches. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm picturing it in my mind. I can't wait to share it with everybody here. And so what are your thoughts on being copied? Like, okay, you said that it felt good.
Honored.
People. How do you feel about that? Honored.
The way I feel about that is that, and I don't know if anybody's ever read, I'll be a shameless plug for the book, Steal Like an Artist. I mean, all of us are inspired by other people, by other creations, by something else that was made. There's no new project under the sun. That's what I always say, but you can improve on it and you can make it your own. Now, those churches, I did not see that design anywhere else. I truly made that one up. That's what was, I guess, so special because nobody had ever seen that before. But, I just lost my train of thought. Cindy, do you do that?
That's all right. All the time. That we're women of a certain age and it keeps happening more and more.
And it just went. But
that's all right. Well, I love that you feel good about inspiring others to make similar projects.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah. And for someone to copy that is an honor to me. It's like, it is that good that I want to do it too. But so many creators will reach out to me and go, do you mind if I make those and post those? I'm like, honey, go do it. You're fine. And then they would share it over on their blog post, or they would tag me, this is, hers, here is mine. That does nothing but help my business, actually. So it was a win-win. It's an honor, and also it helps my business. So
yeah, I have this, I'm not sure who said it. It might have been one of the Kennedys, but don't quote me. I'll try to figure out who said this. But all rising tides
lifts all ships. Yeah.
We can all kind of lift each other with creativity and the ideas that we come up with. And I love what you said, that many copied, but yet they put their own spin on it. So it's clothing. If you look at clothing, we're all wearing the same stuff. Or designs in our home. All of our homes kind of look similar because we are, but yet they're different. So we can take one thing and make it our own design, our own style in clothing, our own style in our homes. And even though it's very similar, it's still our own, but it's inspired by so many others. I mean, look at Joanna Gaines. She's inspired the whole world.
Me too. I still love her style. I love it. It's all over my house.
Yes. Oh, your home is beautiful. And if I can remember to get that link as well, I know that I'm pretty sure you have a home tour.
I do. Yeah. Actually, it's a part 1. We haven't done a part 2 yet, but there's many links onto it to different projects that I've done throughout the house. So
okay. Y'all are going to want to see Do's home. It is gorgeous and it's so practical and doable. How you like that?
I love it. It's doable.
It is doable. Well, listen, why do you love this kind of work? What is it that makes your heart beat about this kind of work?
I guess it's me communicating with others. It's me sharing and putting it out to the masses. As having a family around me, I've done this all my life and they're just used to me and they're tired of my projects. They're really tired. Like I just made a project and set it up on the counter in the kitchen and my hubby come down. I said, what do you think about this? He's like, cool. Well, I don't get the cool. When I put it out to all of you guys, I usually get, oh my God, that's so pretty. I love it. So, I mean, it feeds my soul, and I get a feedback from it. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. It really is a good feeling to know that you've inspired others in whatever way, even if they never make the thing that you made, just to know that it just sparked a little bit of joy, to use a catchphrase that's very popular right now. It just feels good to do that. So I'm pretty sure, and I think we'll end up with this here, but I'm pretty sure we're going to have some people that want to know what it's like to start this kind of business. Now, we touched on a little bit, and if we talk about it more here, that would be great. But what you and I do is not just painting furniture and selling it, or making upcycled items and selling it. We're doing other things. So any aspect of that you want to talk about, how to get started, maybe we could start, because I know that you sold some of your items at the very beginning. I don't think you do more.
I don't anymore. No.
But if you want to kind of address that, because I have a lot of people that are watching, like I said earlier, that are starting a vendor booth. I have one girl over on YouTube that's watching, and she said, I'm watching what you're doing and I'm making your projects because I'm starting a vendor booth. I'm getting a collection before I get the vendor booth open. So if there's one person saying that, I know that there are others saying that as well. What advice do you have for somebody that wants to get this ball rolling?
Wow, just get started. Get started. Start your first piece. It takes time. It takes practice. There is no such thing as just a born artist. I mean, it's something that we practice. Look around where you're selling and make sure that you're selling appropriately. There's lots of painting furniture and different things out there that people are doing, and maybe they live in New York, or maybe they live in California, or maybe they live in San Antonio, Texas, where there's a huge Hispanic population and they like bold colors. Look and see what sells in your area before you start painting. That's the best way to sell, is to give the people what they're used to. It's a little different if you're working online. Like Cindy said, I don't sell my stuff anymore. I actually sell me. That's what I sell. That's a joke. But
so no, let's talk about that part of the business then, the online, and you're not selling things, because just maybe we have others that are interested in blogging or becoming an influencer, or YouTuber. Let's kind of talk about that a little bit. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to do that?
Oh boy, this is my love. I love talking business. It is my thing because I love making money. Let me just tell you, who likes to eat, and you could tell. So, if you want to get started, first thing you got to know, do you have something that's worthy? and something that somebody else would want? Do you have a passion? Are you good at it? And I'm not just talking, you're okay. And your mama says, oh, that's pretty. Or your grandma said, that's cute. That don't mean anything. Talk about the outside people, your friends or people, or somebody that doesn't even know you. Start putting it out on social media. You know, if you have that passion and you love this thing. And here's the second thing that you got to do before you can start an online business is you got to be hungry. You got to be hungry. You have to, this is a business. You can't just do this as a hobby. You're going to burn out because the work that you put in it, I put in way more work doing this than I ever did with a 9-to-5 job, ever. It's constant. It's all the time, managing social media, learning technology, you know, meeting people like Cindy, going to conferences. It's a lot of work. And that little project, that little wood church that you're going to see took me a minute compared to 3 days it took me to write the blog post on it. You know, taking pictures and photos and linking videos and all the other stuff that goes on with it. So yeah, you got to have a passion. You got to be good at it, and you got to be hungry. You got to be willing to work hard and not give up.
I agree 100%. And you've been an inspiration to me where my business is concerned. And you gave me a bit of advice a few years ago. And you said, Cindy, you're going to have to make some hard decisions. And they're going to be hard decisions. And you can't worry about how others will view it. You have to. And what you said was, you have to do what's right for your business. And that has been a hard pill to swallow over the years. And by the way, I've passed that on to many of my blogging friends. And I always give you credit. I'm like, well, Do says, and that's my quote, you got to do the hard thing. You have to do what's right for your business. And that has really steered me towards a lot of decisions that I've made where my business is concerned. And frankly, it steered my decision to stop selling. And that was
that makes me so happy to hear that, because I knew you were selling and I was like, she's going to get tired of that. You can't scale it. That's the problem with the business.
So what do you mean by scaling? No, we're winding down our time. I don't want to go too off. We're really going to have
really quickly. I'll talk about scaling. Scaling meaning if you're selling a product and you're building it, you're repurposing, you're doing furniture or crafts or whatever, you can only do as much as you can do. You can't have you can't make 1,000 birdhouses and sell them. You just can't. You can only do maybe 25 or something. You just can't scale that business to make more money. And when you have an online business, there's so many other platforms, multiple revenue streams that are going to be coming in, and you can make that kind of money and you don't have to do all the work.
Yeah, I totally see what you mean. But if you write a blog post about that birdhouse, or if you make a video about that one birdhouse, it can get views over and over. And from there, it can expand. And we can't get into the topic. Friends, I had to set a timer because I knew that Do and I would get into it and never stop. And I want to be respectful of your time. So we had to set a timer, but we can't, let me get back to that really quick. And then we've got to scoot, but we can't go into the details of the nitty gritty of how you make money online. But maybe that's a topic that we need to revisit, Do, because I feel like some people that I know that are watching, I'm thinking of one particular woman right now in her 70s that wants to write a blog. I mean, isn't that amazing?
I love it.
Get started. So that might be something that you and I could revisit maybe in a couple of months. And I know you're a wealth of information about online business. So let's talk about that after this call.
Sure.
Thank you, Do, so much for joining me on this very first interview that I've ever done in my whole life. Talk about doing big things. We just did it.
So proud of you. Let me just say, I'm so proud of you, Cindy.
Thank you. Well, we conquered the technology end of it to this point. Thank you so much for joining me, Do. We're going to share all of Do's links, her favorite project, all of her socials, her blog, and any other information that she wants to share. And I'm going to add a little picture of that favorite project, or at least a teaser picture, because I want you to go over and see it on the blog. So thanks so much, everyone, for watching. Thanks again to Do for joining me here, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.